All right, gentlemen, good evening. Thanks for hopping on. I know we were just talking about catching up and how busy life can be sometimes, but I'm grateful that you guys took time to make it out tonight. Um, Tonight I mean, if you've been in queue for any time, you are familiar with this guy who's going to be speaking tonight. So, he kind of is known in the men's community of Q, but he also has lots of different identities that we can attach to him, and I know that's something we've been talking about this month. But I think to the point of like what Widener was talking about, the one thing I attribute to Ben is like he has skill sets in so many aspects of his life, but more importantly, like he has those character traits that really take him to be that leader that people really seek after. And so that's why it's an honor to listen and to hear from you tonight, Ben, and I appreciate you hopping on speaking to us.
Of course, anytime. Well, gentlemen, I do apologize for being a little late tonight. At the end of the day, I'm still a dad, and toddlers rule the world. So my little boy hasn't slept all day, so trying to get him down for the rest of the night has been a challenge. We had to call on the grandparents for some backup. So, but no, I'm really excited to share with you guys tonight a couple different things. One being defining your battle space. What does that actually look like? What is it? How does it feel? What does it entail? Because battle spaces can be defined in so many different aspects besides combat and war. And the second thing we're talking about tonight is actually defining your warrior ethos. And what a warrior ethos simply is something that you can fall back on, or something you say repeatedly to yourself that inspires, electrifies, and just makes you want to go run through a brick wall. No matter how hard times get, there's always something you can fall back upon. So before we start diving into this tonight, I don't want to take too long. I could probably ramble on forever and probably inspire so many just by talking, but I'm not going to do that to you guys tonight. A little bit about my background. Before Q, I was a gym owner for almost 10 years. And before that, I was a Marine for 14. During that time, I did 6 combat tours, 3 in Iraq and 3 in Afghanistan. The unit that I was with, I was in simple terms, was a higher echelon unit. It pretty much means that you'd go behind enemy lines, seek out and destroy the enemy. Sometimes it was rough. Sometimes the job was, disdained. It was daunting. It was a task that I didn't want to do. However, the battle space is what I actually kind of started falling in love with. When I was 18 years old, I enlisted into the Marine Corps 3 days after high school graduation. By the time I was 19, I was finding myself my first time in combat. I left so much behind. I knew personally that I would never be able to make it in college at the time. My mind wasn't there as undiagnosed ADD, and I needed simple direction in my life. I needed someone to tell me to be somewhere, do something, and this is how you're going to do it. As a young 19-year-old, the Marine Corps was exactly what I needed. They installed so much discipline in those 13 weeks at boot camp that I came out feeling like I was Superman. Fast forward 6 months later, Afghanistan kicked off. And we all know that that was not a great place to be. 19 years old, I found myself over there for the first time in 2001. To get shot at the first time at 19 years old was something that I was not prepared for mentally. I didn't know what I thought the battle space and combat was going to be, but it wasn't that. It wasn't, holy crap, I may not make it home tonight. And that kind of took a toll, to be honest with you. At 19 years old, you're not supposed to have those responsibilities in this world. You're not supposed to see the stuff that, so many of these soldiers and service personnel see. And so when I got home after my first tour, Iraq kicked off in 2003. Flash forward back just a little bit more, I lost my father in between those. I was 19 years old, and actually 4 days ago, 21 years ago, I lost my father when I was 19. To have that father figure exit your life really made you grow up. It realized that you don't need people to rely on, that you need to be the one that gets up there and do your job, whatever it looks like. You need to be that support for your mom, be that support. You need to be that support for that household, be that support. You need to be there for your men, you gotta be there for those guys, right? It doesn't matter what life threw at me. I realized right then and there that I was no longer a 19-year-old. I was almost a 30-year-old because I had to take so much of my own actions into my own hands. This is also kind of what shaped my ethos that we'll talk about later on. Now, in 2003, I found myself going into the invasion of Iraq. It was a completely different war, completely different theater, completely different battle space. And that battle space, to be honest with you, was a lot easier than Afghanistan was. We got pretty good at what we did over there. A lot of things I'm not really excited to talk about, and I probably won't ever mention them again in this world. But again, when you're now 20 years old and you're back in combat, back in the battlefield, you start reevaluating things. You start seeing things in the normal world that doesn't make sense to you anymore. Why are people complaining about so many things in this world? Their Starbucks order being messed up, and all of a sudden I just got my best friend smoked, and he's no longer coming home to drink a coffee, right? That's 20 years old. By the time I was 22, I lost more than 13 of my best friends. By the time I was 26, I lost over 30. And so the sad thing is, though, you can sit here and play the harp all you want, but I started falling in love with the battlefield. Because you see, the battlefield was easy. The battlefield was something that I didn't have to worry about. I didn't have to worry about a mortgage payment, car payments, insurance companies. I didn't have to worry about cell phones. I didn't have to worry about girlfriends. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff back home because the battlefield was easy. The only thing I had to do was get home. I had to do my job. I had to make sure that all my friends to the left and to my right also got home. And so when I say we fell in love with combat, we're not some, bunch of warmonger killers that want to do nothing but more than stay in combat. This is just the easier lifestyle for us. And I think that's why a lot of veterans, when they get out, have such a hard time, because war is easy. And I talked about this last convention last summer, is that, when you're over there, you just got one job, two jobs: kill the enemy, make it home. Now, when I talk about a battlefield, what is a battlefield? A battlefield is nothing more than an area where enemy combatants, foreign forces, fight for either political advantage, territorial advantage. I mean, we've been in this world's been at war since time has begun. And you're going to find that throughout time, warriors will rise up. See, the things that I did and things that so many more of these people have done in this world, less than 1% will ever experience. And that's okay. I don't expect you guys to go over there and fight for this country right now. In fact, I'd actually probably boycott it because of all the stuff that I've had to go through. And still, almost 11 years later, still suffering with, right? So when you're on that battlefield, like I said, life is easy. When you get home is where the real war starts. You understand your place. You understand where you belong, right? Now, how do we tie all this into Q? How do we tie this into being men? Now, you see, there's a battlefield in everyday life. You may not know what your battlefield is. It doesn't have to be a struggle, right? A battlefield doesn't have to be something that you have to struggle with every single day. A battlefield can be nothing more than something that you actually find peace in, where so many others find struggle. For me, what you can see behind me is my gym and my golf net. When I'm in my garage, this is my new battle space. This is where I go, where everything else in the world just falls apart. Not falls apart, but everything else in the world no longer am I hearing about in my head, right? When I'm in my gym, or if I'm working on my golf game for that hour and a half a day, nothing out in the real world matters anymore, because I'm so dialed into what I'm doing. Now, see, my gym is my battlefield. My why is my body. My how is my mind, right? Because I gotta keep all these things sharp. I have 2 kids. I'm 40 years old. Some of you guys might get that. Okay. My youngest one is now 3 months old. When he's 10, I'm 50. Right. So my why, my battlefield is now my gym, to make sure that in time I can still be a man, I can still be a father, I can still be active enough to go be with my kids. Because my boy's 18 years old, guess what? I'm in my 60s. But guess what? I'm still going to be there in the field. I'm still going to be playing with my kids every single day, because that's what a man and a father is supposed to do. A man is supposed to show his kids the good, the bad, the ugly, and how to overcome them. And I'll be damned if I die of a heart attack before they can actually experience this world. So that's my battlefield. That is my why. That is what keeps me going in this world. Right? Now, as a veteran, there's a lot of weird things that we have to now navigate in this world. right? We have to find a new spot to belong. Where do we belong, right? Because let's be honest, nobody owes me a single thing in this world. And I truly believe that. As a veteran, so many people say, oh, everybody owes me something. You know what? You probably never left the wire, right? And you probably actually engage in combat. You're the guys going out there and getting the freaking food for free on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. That's fine. But a lot of us don't talk about it, right? And so it kind of goes into, you got to look around your life as a guy. What is your battlefield going to be? If you can think about it right now, it's great. If there's something that you can do in this world where the rest of the world drowns out, perfect. That is probably your battlefield. If it's Q Sciences, cool. That's great. Let's work. And I think that's an awesome opportunity for so many people to actually drown out or actually get in contact with so many other people. That's not my battlefield yet. And it probably never will be. And that's not a bad thing, because what I do inside here sharpens me for what I do with this job in Q. It keeps me going. It keeps me motivated. And I love the battle inside, mentally and physically. So I'm being honest with you guys, and actually having a vulnerable second here. I am lazy by nature. And I'll admit that. It takes a ton of work to not succumb to being lazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's genetic. I don't know if it's how I was raised. I don't know. But I am a lazy person by nature. And it sucks because every day I have to wake up and fight that, right? Because it's so easy to sit on the couch with the boys, watch TV, and not pour into them. That's lazy father, right? I'm a strong father. I want to take my boys to the park instead of sitting on that couch. And at times, I may succumb to being lazy. Typically, it's about this time at night where my day is done, and I want to just relax. But you know what? Today, let's take today for instance. My son got to go play with his grandma for about 6 hours. He absolutely had a blast. He went to the zoo and didn't sleep and is a complete terrorist right now. I took that advantage to go practice my golf because I have a huge tournament next week. But when he came home, I've been out in the sun all day too. I'm exhausted, but I'm still there for him when he got home. I am still excited to see him. And guess what? I'm going to be honest with you. He'll never know that I'm tired in this lifetime. That's my job. So what is your battle space? Can you define your battle space? Does your battle space have parameters? Those are questions you got to think to yourself. Now let's talk about your warrior ethos. What is a warrior ethos? A warrior ethos is nothing more than something that people scream out when they need help, or they need motivation, or they need something to help them run through a brick wall. I'm sure we can look back in history and see a ton of them, right? Go watch the movie 300 and see the Spartans. They always responded with their little war cry of "Ahoo," right? Navy SEALs, the only easy day was yesterday, right? The Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. Army, I have no idea what your ethos is. You guys have changed it like 20 times in the past 10 years, right? Used to be an army of one, army strong. I have no idea. Maybe you're an army of one now. I don't know. But whatever it is, who knows? Okay. But over time, warriors have had a phrase or saying that they can fall back upon. For myself, it is simple. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. That is the one thing that has gotten through so many hard times. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. You probably recognize that from the movie Invictus, right? Long time ago. Some people probably never heard about it. And pretty much it means I am responsible for all of my actions, both physically and spiritually. Now, I've had some hard times. I've been through some dark alleys. And I've had some times where you make a good decision or a bad decision. But I'm still the master of my fate. I chose to make that decision. Sometimes I can live with it. I've had no choice. So I want you guys to think about that. What is your ethos? What is something that can make you overcome the darkness? Because, gentlemen, I know as men, we have been through some dark times. We have been through some troubles at times. We have been through, there's addictions out there in this world, right? Sometimes we don't even want to admit that we have them. But there's something you're saying to yourself to get you through it. Maybe have a stronger ethos to help you overcome those addictions, those problems, those issues that you're not facing head on. So I tell you one thing, the 5S of our company Man, what a brilliant thing. If you are polished in all 5 of those areas, you probably don't even need an ethos, to be honest with you, because you're probably not going through addictions. You're probably not struggling. You're probably not having some things that are going wrong in your marriage. But no one's perfect, and we all have to struggle. So, as men, as warriors, what is that thing in your head that gets you through the hard times? Now, if I replace ethos with your why are you in Q? Why are you doing this? Why are you here tonight? Are you here hoping some dude from the past 14 years being a veteran is going to inspire you by saying some stupid things on a Zoom? I hope not. You guys are here as men. You guys want to be sharpened by steel. So if your why in this company is not strong, what's going to happen when you go through tough times in this company? So-and-so quit. Who cares? You know how many no's we get daily? It's ridiculous. You see, we had a training at corporate, and let me double check my notes here. That first day, we sat down with 15 of our elites and below. And I told them the night prior to the training that you need to find your why, and you're going to share it in front of 15 strangers. And if your why is not strong enough, I'm going to call you out on it. And I'm going to say, try again. I can't tell you how many tears were shed over that weekend of seeing why people are doing this. And of course, I was the only guy in the room. And yes, I cried. It's okay. My why is very strong. But you see, these ladies left this conference, this team building, and they wanted to run through a brick wall because their why was in front of their head. These girls are on fire now. And gentlemen, I want you guys to have the same thing. I want you guys to think about your why. What does it mean to you? Can you fall back upon it when someone tells you no? Or how about a leg that you had that had 350,000 volume and one of them is now down to 25,000? Is your why still strong enough? You're going to quit? Or when your friend leaves this company, it's going to happen. You're going to follow because life seems easier over there? Or is your why that much stronger? You say, see ya, sucker. Bad move. Gentlemen, this is a crazy world we live in. I think we can all agree. 2020 has darkened so many lives. I think we need to have a men's ethos of Q somehow, some way. What is something that we can come up with as men that we can say back and forth to each other? You know, in the Marine Corps, we sound like rabid dogs, right? It sounds like we're saying, like, we use the word kill all the time, right? Like, how's your day going? Kill. You're like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he yelling out the word kill? It's just something that we did. It was how we stayed sharp, right? And I cannot tell you guys enough that what that men's trip meant for a lot of us. If you were there, you've been molded, you've been bonded by brotherhood. There's stuff that happened that weekend that I won't talk about, but it was sure a hell of a lot of fun. Unfortunately, one picture made the internet. It is what it is. If you guys understand, you understand. Okay. But I have no pride anymore. All right. But the thing is, I think guys, and I wish there was more guys on this call tonight, because there literally needs to be something done where dudes want to be around better men. Guys don't want to be around weak men. I'm sorry. Especially in this day and age. We have too many of those out there. What was that saying? Hard times create strong people. Weak times create whatever it is, right? We're in the weak men phase right now. You see it all around you. Guys can't even change a tire. If you can't change a tire in the Zoom, I apologize, right? But I think those are standard things that guys should be able to do. It's literally a screw and a lug nut, and you just untwist it. Put a jack in first. But it's the basic stuff, right? Like these guys can't even do it. I tell you. We wonder why women are taking control. So, the last part, let me just kind of go through here. Make sure I hit all my notes. Okay. Who is the commander of your battle space? Think about that. Are you the one that has the full broad view of what you're trying to do in this world? Do you have control of what's happening inside your battle space as well? Now, on the battle space, it's easy as a general. They can see the big picture. They know where units are and try to move, and that's that. But as you men in this real world that are not in battle, are you in command of your thoughts? Are you in command of your actions? Are you in command of you? Think about it that way. I'm a huge believer in faith. I understand that the big guy's got overall control of my entire life. He is the general of my battlefield. At the same time, I'm here. And I have to be in command of what I do on an everyday basis. Does the alarm go off at 5 o'clock? Do you hit snooze? If you're Mike over there, and probably old Christian over there, and some of these other guys, hell no, you ain't. Christian's got to go ride 700 miles on a bike in a week. Crazy guy. Right? Mike's over there eating iron and turning his body into iron. I see it. Robert, I see you guys. You guys are crushing it because you guys make a conscious decision every day to not succumb to your battlefield or your thoughts. So, gentlemen, I'm not here to take much time with you guys tonight. I hope this inspires you. I hope this motivates you. And I really hope that you define your life, your battle space, and find your ethos. I appreciate you guys having me on out tonight. I look forward to seeing so many of you either in Toronto convention or again in the summertime convention. Bring your A game, golfers. You're going to need it. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.